Right, everyone. 12th Man Football here. Liam here with Harley and Darin. We're going to be discussing our Premier League team of the season so far. The biggest flops of the season so far as well. Going through position by position. We'll see where we go from there, really. So, been a weird season. Champions have faltered, which I'm a little bit sad to say because of what I'm wearing. But we've been pretty diabolical at times. But yeah, I think City will walk it. I don't know what you two will think about who's going to win it now. It's pretty obvious to me that City will.
Yeah.
But
I reckon Arsenal might win it, mate.
Yeah, could be a close run thing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll start with you, Harley. Who have you gone through for in goal?
It was quite a tough one. There was quite a few keepers out there. My keeper is Emi Martinez for Aston Villa. I think he's kept a lot of clean sheets and a lot of games he's been man of the match for Aston Villa. I think the game a couple of weeks ago against his former team, Arsenal, was probably the best display I've seen from a keeper actually in this season. So I think Emi Martinez was the big pick for me. But you could argue Nick Pope, I suppose, Edison from Man City, that would have been the three. But for me, Emi Martinez, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. Darin, who have you gone for?
Right. So obviously, you know that I don't watch a lot of English football, obviously, because I'm quite busy. So I think I'm going to agree. I think Emi Martinez has probably been outstanding so far.
Yeah. I mean. So... Yeah, I think I've gone for the same one. I mean, I think Arsenal will be higher up the table if they kept him because, I mean, I rate Leno, but I think he's just what he's proved, hasn't he, that he's ready to be like number one at another club. And he's been, I think he's kept so many clean sheets and I don't think they'd be eighth in the table without him in goal. But, I think you can't really argue with it. Like Harley said, I think Edison would be up there maybe as like second pick. I don't think anybody comes as close to him. Probably one of the surprise packages of the season as well, considering they only survived by like a point last season.
Yeah.
But yeah, right backs where I've struggled, but we'll go back to Harley, see who have you picked.
Yeah, right back was a funny one. There isn't really a standout right back, I suppose. I've gone for Cancelo at Man City just purely on the clean sheets, and obviously he's had a good season. To be fair, he's had a more consistent season. He's played the majority of Man City's games this season, and they've probably been the best defence. So that's probably a cop-out choice, really. But I couldn't really think of anyone else. Maybe you could argue Wan-Bissaka, but for me, Cancelo, mate. To be fair.
Yes, fair enough. Darin, who have you gone for?
Well, when I was looking at this, I wasn't too sure because I thought I had a wee look at possible right backs from like the Sky Sports pundits, and I actually went for a surprising one, Reece James.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about him, to be honest. I mean, I suppose not many people were expecting him to take it off Azpilicueta, were they? But you probably argue he's up there. Yeah. Maybe start at right back for England. I don't know. I think
debatable that.
I don't know. I think, like you say, there's for England there'd be Walker and Alexander-Arnold, but I'll be honest, Trent's been poor this season.
Yeah, he's been shocking. Trent, mate. I can't have him.
And for me, I mean, going forward, incredible, but defending, he just can't defend, if you ask me. But Reece James is a good shout. I've gone for James Justin at Leicester. I know he's injured now, but I think with Pereira out injured, they needed someone to step up, and I think he was it's very good for them. I just think he's probably a big reason coming from Luton as well. No one had really heard of him, bit of a punt, but I think, who I've gone for, like you say, couldn't see any standout players at right backs. Fullbacks are a funny position. You're either really, really good or no one really even looks at you in a season. But yeah, James Justin for me. Centre backs, I suppose we move on to next. Harley.
Yeah, first one I've got on my list is Diaz from Man City. I think he's been outstanding since he's joined them. I think he's arguably one of the signings of the season, in my opinion. What the defensive record at Man City, I think they kept 11 or 12 clean sheets in 13, 14 games recently. They've been brilliant, and I think the defence has been a big reason for their winning streak of, I think it's 20 wins, isn't it? 20 wins in a row, Man City. So, yeah, Diaz for me.
Yeah,
it's got to be in there.
Yeah. Who else are you gone for alongside?
I've gone for John Stones. I said Man City. You're going to see a lot of Man City play. I've got Diaz and Stones. Just I think that pairing's been brilliant, to be fair. And like you said, I don't think there's really been another centre back that stood out for me other than those two. I think Stones has improved a lot as well this season, and I think he's got to be an England shout this year for me for Euros.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah. Right, Darren, who have you gone for at centre back?
Interesting thing is that I've went for the exact same two centre backs.
Well, you can't not really, can you? I mean,
because the thing is that, like Harley mentioned that in the last, how can you win a league without defenders? And obviously, they're showing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I think
it's clearly obvious why they're
said 20 wins in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, I tweeted about it the other day. I mean, I think they've scored between them in the last two seasons more goals than Firmino has for Liverpool. So not something I'm proud to admit, but I think if you just said even like 6 months ago, Stones and Diaz would have kept Laporte out of Man City's team, people would have laughed at you. But I don't know what's happened. It's almost like he needed that time out of the team, and he's come back and he's been. I think he's up there for Player of the Season, to be honest.
You think Stone starts for England, Liam, in the Euros?
Yeah, I mean, if Southgate doesn't start him, I mean, I don't know who you start him. There's probably 3 or 4 who you start him with, but I think if you don't start him after the season he's had, then when are you going to start him for England?
Yeah.
But, I've gone for the same 2 as well. So,
oh my god.
Yeah. All the same over here, I guess. I think one thing I would like to do is I came very, very close to putting Fabinho in there. I mean, I know Liverpool haven't been brilliant, but it's not his favoured position. He's been shoved in there, and I thought until he's picked up a couple of injuries like the rest of the team, I thought he's been pretty good, to be fair. I mean, I think that's probably an understatement.
It's a decent wild card shout. I'll give you that. He's done well, and he's filling in there.
Yeah, but like you say, the way City has been, I don't think really go for anyone else. But to round off defenders, left back, I guess. Harley, I'll come to you again.
Yeah, this one there's a few players that caught my eye on this one. I thought Luke Shaw was a potential one. I think he's in Man United, to be fair. I think Aaron Cresswell, I think, a very underrated player in the Premier League. He's always a 7 out of 10 player, but for me, it has to be the Everton left back, Lucas Digne. I think he's been fantastic this season. He's bombing forwards. I think he's the best left back in the league actually at the moment. To be fair with you, Liam, I don't know what you guys think. You and Darren think.
Darren, you can go next. I mean,
well, obviously, I could be completely biased and go for either Andy Robertson or Kieran Tierney if I wanted to, but let's just say I'm not going to go for them. So I've went for Ben Chilwell of Chelsea. Okay. So obviously under the performances when Lampard was in charge, I think he actually done really well. And I think that it was a massive jump, obviously, from Leicester to Chelsea. So obviously getting just a new playing style. So I'm thinking, I think he could probably be one of the best left backs in England, especially maybe even a starter for England.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think he's probably the only good left back we've got at the minute, to be fair. I think we've got about 4 good right backs, and left backs one we've always struggled with for England. Yeah. But I know I think another one who can contest with him for the England spot at the Euros is who I've gone for. I've gone for Luke Shaw. I just think, considering what he was like under Mourinho, I mean, he was never in the team. I thought when they bought Telles in the summer that he'd be straight out. But to keep him out, he's kept him out very well. And I mean, personally, I can't stand the guy. I don't like him at all. I've never really rated him. But
yeah.
Just, there's something about him. Every time I see him play, the same reaction as Actually Young. I just absolutely despise him. But yeah, I've gone for Luke Shaw. I mean, I nearly went for Chilwell as well, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it was again fullbacks. It's a difficult position to go for because there's not many. I think another shout would, for his starts of the season, would be Reguilon at Tottenham.
Yeah. What about Saka? Maybe I don't know. Saka at Arsenal, maybe pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think the only thing with Arsenal is they're so dire at the start of the season. I mean, yeah, he's hitting the headlines now because he's been good in Europe for him, and him and Smith Rowe have pulled them through, really, haven't they, until Aubameyang started firing. But I don't think over the course of the entire season so far he's been quite out there. I don't know about you two, but midfield is where I struggled because I literally could have had about 9 players in midfield, but I've gone for a midfield 3. Harley, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I've gone for a midfield 3. My deep line player would be Ike Gundogan. I think he's been fantastic this year. I think he's added goals to his game as well. But I think he's very underrated in what he actually does for Man City. He doesn't really get the headlines, but he covers the ground, makes the key passes. He always seems to get at the end of the ball, like with goals and things like that. He seems to get the tap in. He seems to be in the right place at the right time. I think he's really improved this season, to be fair. I think he's one of the most improved players in the Premier League. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah. Darin, who have you gone for?
Interesting thing is that I went for Tielemans from Leicester.
Right.
I think he's actually had a pretty decent season, especially you do need a good midfield, and obviously I think Tielemans has helped. I really do think that, so I just went, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, I can see where it come from. I'm surprised he hasn't gone to a bigger team. I think their whole midfield 3. I think Tielemans, Didi, Maddison, Leicester fans will hate me for saying it, but I think all of them could be at much bigger clubs. I mean, Leicester are a big club, don't get me wrong, but otherwise they wouldn't be third in the league. But I'm surprised they haven't gone like abroad or maybe, I don't know, up in stature. I went for Gundogan as well. I think at the start of this year, I think I read something that he was actually the top goal scorer across all top 5 European leagues in games just played in 2021, which I think if you put a bet on that, you'd be very rich. But yeah, I went for Gundogan. I thought, like Harley, I think he's changed everything. If you just said that they beat Liverpool 4-1 without De Bruyne and Aguero in the team, without a recognised striker, even with the form they're in, I think people might have laughed at you a little bit, but he just ran the show. He's done it for months now, I think, so I went for him as well. Who are your other 2 then? We'll start with Harley.
I've gone for a 3 like you in the midfield. I've gone for one side, I've got Jack Grealish and I've got Bruno Fernandes. I'll start with Jack Grealish. I think he's obviously Aston Villa, isn't he? He's the key player for Aston Villa. He's the game-changing player for them. He's gets a lot of assists and a lot of goals. He's definitely improving, and he may be one of England's best players at the moment. And I think he needs to, obviously in the Euros, he needs to get the game time because obviously Gareth doesn't fancy him, does he? I don't understand that because he's definitely turned into one of the best players in the Premier League for me, and he should be up there. And the other one, Bruno Fernandes, I don't particularly like him, to be fair, but in the big games he doesn't turn up, but you can't deny his goals and assists. He's got a lot of goals, a lot of assists, and he's on paper, you can't deny his record is brilliant, really, isn't it? So yeah, that puts my 3 in the midfield. Yeah.
I mean, Darren, will go back to you if you're ready to talk about that. But if not, I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first, Liam, mate.
I mean, I went for Bruno Fernandes as well. Like you, Harley, it does really irritate me that even if he has a bad game, I mean, the media just go on and on and on about how amazing he's been. I think the Chelsea game the other night actually was the first time that he hasn't been sort of like fully focused on as just he's been the game-changing player, but because it was one of the most boring games I've ever seen, to be honest. No, you can't deny it. He's probably been, again, player of the season contender. He's got to be up there. Goals and assists speak for himself, don't they? I mean, I don't think anybody thought he'd have that impact. I mean, everyone knew he was good, but I didn't think they thought he'd be that good. So I went for him, and I also went for it was a close one. I nearly went for Souček at West Ham because I think the amount of goals he's got, and no one would have ever thought, oh yeah, he'll be up there as like one of the top scoring midfielders in the league. I went for James Maddison. I think, wasn't it, Jamie Carragher said to him the only thing that he's got to do to change his game was add assists and start scoring goals. And as soon as that tweet went up, he was banging them in for fun. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I know you went for Grealish, but I think those two have got to start. I mean, I know there's Foden as well.
Yeah.
I know you can't start all three of them, but I think just because of the lack of experience in international football, they've got to start for England as well. Yeah, so I went for Maddison and Fernandes. Darren, I don't know who you went for, but off you go.
Well, obviously for Tielemans' partner, I've went for obviously Bruno Fernandes in the centre because I think he's just obviously been absolutely outstanding ever since he's had that transition from Sporting Lisbon to Manchester United. I think he's phenomenal in that middle of the park.
Yeah.
Are we going right to left or left to right?
Up to you. Just
right. Okay. So, well, for my left, I've got a 4-2-3-1.
right.
So my left, I've went for Mohamed Salah.
Right. Okay.
I know that they've not really hit the heights that Liverpool hoped this season compared to the previous season. I think obviously there's a reason why he's got so many goals in the league. I think it's about, is he not the top goal scorer?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Liverpool have been so poor and he's still up there.
Yeah. I'm actually genuinely surprised. So the centre, I've went for obviously Kevin De Bruyne.
Right.
He's like, I think from the weekend, is that him the 10th? Is it assisted or goals? I can't remember, but like most assisted player, the 10th most assisted player in the Premier League of all time. So right. I think he's got a reason. He's got a reason to be up there. And the other side, I've got obviously one of them. I think he's an obvious choice for England. Is Raheem Sterling. I think he's been exceptional.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think when he left Liverpool, everyone thought 50 million is a lot of money. But I mean, I've never said this out loud before, but if we were to get rid of Salah or Mane, I know it's never going to happen, but he's one of the players I wouldn't mind having back. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate of any Liverpool fans that hear that, but I'm willing to take that shot. Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, he's not in mine, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from with them.
Yeah.
Harley, we'll go back to you.
Well, on my right, I've got the same as Darren. I've got Mo Salah. I think even though Liverpool have been poor this season, you can't deny he's still probably the best player, or in at least the top three in the Premier League. He's the top goal scorer in the league again. He's got a lot of assists, and he always got a magical moment in him, hasn't he? He's always got a brilliant goal, great finish, top player still, but obviously it hasn't worked out for Liverpool this season. But you can't deny he's still Liverpool's best player, to be fair. So I've got him on my right, and on my left I've got Heung-min Son. I've got I think he's been one of the only positives. Him and obviously my other pick, which I will say in a minute. But Son's been fantastic for Tottenham. They've been very poor, Tottenham, but without Son, they'd be a lot worse than where they were. I think Tottenham would be bottom half if they didn't have Son, players like Son in their team. So yeah.
I mean, I've gone for Salah as well. I think just because he's top scorer. I mean, Liverpool have been, well, statistically, I think it's the worst champions in the Premier League era statistically. But I mean, I think the other two have been well off the pace, Mane and Firmino. But yeah, like you say, to be top scorer and they've been as poor as they've been, I think it's sort of like been pushed to the side a bit that he's still had a very good season. And I had to put Phil Foden in for me. I think that he just ripped Liverpool shreds when we were at Anfield. And I think he'll go right to the top. I mean, when he first came on the scene, I was a bit like, is he a bit arrogant? Is he one of those that's going to have loads of potential and then it'll just fade away? But I think he's proved that he hasn't. And I think I laughed along with a lot of other people when Pep Guardiola said, don't need to buy anyone because Foden can replace David Silva. But I guess, I don't think he hasn't replaced him, but I think over time he will do. But I couldn't fit him in the central three and he keeps playing out wide, so I've chucked him in out wide. Who have you gone for up top? Harley, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll go. I kind of gave it away saying Son. I've got Harry Kane up top. And the reason I've got Harry Kane up top, I think whenever he doesn't play for Tottenham, they have no threat up front. And I think he generally is a world-class striker. I think he's probably the best number 9 now in the Premier League. I don't think there's too many arguments about that. His goals and he gets loads of goals, but he also assists a lot as well. Him and Son, their partnerships probably the best in the Premier League at the moment. I think might be up there with one of the best partnerships actually in the Premier League ever. I know obviously you've got Suarez, Sturridge, which was good. You've got Shearer, Cole and things like that. But for me, Harry Kane as a number 9 striker, I can't see anyone else other than him, to be fair, mate. So that's my number 9, Harry Kane.
Darren, we'll come to you. Who have you put up top? Is he still there?
Darren?
Oh, hello. Right, well, the top, I would say, is definitely Harry Kane. I obviously, from the weekend, I would say there could have been a debate for Gareth Bale from that performance he had.
Yeah.
But I generally do think it's Harry Kane because I would consider either Aguero, Jesus, or even Firmino, but I would just say Harry Kane's probably the best. I'm going to say this: best England striker since the Premier League started. Up there beside Alan Shearer. I would say it's a big
I agree with that
one,
as well. I agree with that. That's a big shout, but I agree with that.
When you said the best ever, I was thinking Shearer's up there.
Shearer, yeah. But I think if Harry Kane stayed in the Prem, he'd score goals, mate. I think he could get up to Shearer's levels. I don't know what you guys think.
I think he can. I think he will. I think he will get up there. I think when you're talking about all time, I think just because he hasn't won anything.
That's fair.
And Shearer won the Premier League. I mean, I know won at Blackburn and ages ago, but he did win it. I think the other one that you got to chuck in there is Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, Wayne Rooney, of course.
I think he's probably top 3. I haven't actually gone for him though. I've gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Just because of how he's sort of like at the start of the season, he was just on fire. I know he's faded away a bit now, but I thought he was just, well, unbelievable, really. I don't think anybody expected him to get into double figures as quick as he did. And I just thought for someone to just come from nowhere to just like everyone's talking about him. I think he's got to go to the Euros as a backup, without a doubt. But yeah, I just had to go for him, really. Manager, I guess, then. For me, personally, it's only between two, but I think, Harley, if you go first.
There was a couple I had. Obviously, you can go for the usual. You can go for Pep, can't you? Which is obviously the obvious kind of one. But for me, you can even say David Moyes was a good shout, because look at West Ham, where they are. That's an unbelievable achievement where they are at the moment. But for me, I've gone for Dean Smith. And the reason why I like Dean Smith is from where Aston Villa were last season, just staying up last game of the season, he's like took them miles above that. They play great football. Yeah. He's recruited well, like Ollie Watkins, players like that, good signings from the Championship. Ross Barkley's been decent there as well when he's played. I like Tyrone Mings, Konza. They've got a good team, Aston Villa, and I think Dean Smith and his recruitment's been excellent there, to be fair. I know they've spent a bit of money, but I think Dean Smith's done well to get Aston Villa where they are at the moment in the table. So for me, Dean Smith, but there's obviously some other bigger names you can go for.
Darin, who have you gone for? Manager of the season so far?
Well, for me, I could really go on about how much I don't like this person, but I've went for Brendan Rodgers.
Right.
Right, for the reason being that I think obviously there's Pep Guardiola, which is an obvious choice, but I would say definitely Brendan Rodgers because of how far he's actually taken the team. I can't remember when he joined Leicester, but it's been a really good couple of seasons he's had with them, and I genuinely do think that he's been in a building phase, and I think he's done absolutely outstanding with what he's did at Leicester, especially with the reduced resources, that similar to what David Moyes had at Everton.
I can see that. I mean, I know they faded away last season. I think everyone thought, how didn't they get in the top four last season? Don't know whether the pressure got to him, but I think he's always been a good manager. I can understand why you hate him, or aren't fond of him. Mine was a bit of a toss-up between Guardiola and David Moyes, to be honest. But just because every single season, when West Ham start the season, I think they should be about 8th or 9th. And they always end up finishing about 15th or 16th and scraping through the last 4 or 5 games of the season. But this season, don't really know what's happened. I've gone for David Moyes just because to get them 4th, I know Chelsea have been poor and Liverpool have been poor and Tottenham and Arsenal have been way off the pace as well. But for me, I just think to get that team 4th without a recognised striker as well, to be fair, they've played Antonio up front nearly all season. Lingard's came in and he's done pretty well for him. But when they sold Haller and didn't bring anyone in, I was quite shocked. No, for me, Moyes, which I don't like saying as a Liverpool fan with his Everton and Man United connections, but David Moyes for me. I think quickly, should we go through like flops of the season, like our biggest sort of like flop 11 of the season, if we just go through it? Don't need to explain it so much, but just go from goalkeeper, shall we? Harley, if you go first, do you want to do your goalkeeper and then your back four?
I don't think you'll like this one, but my flop goalkeeper is Alisson. I don't think he's a quality keeper. We know he's a world class keeper, but obviously he has had a poor season, hasn't he? Let's be honest. My left back, Ben Davies, Tottenham. I think he's woeful. I think he's, whenever I see him play, I don't think he's good enough to play for a team like Tottenham. Centre back, I've got Eric Dyer, another one not good enough to play for a top 6 team. Makes a lot of mistakes. Now I've got Rob Holding, centre back, another one not good enough. Hector Bellerin, rubbish. And then I've got a 4-4-2 basically. So on my left side, I've got Willian. He's just done nothing as a signing to me. I don't rate him. Jeff Hendrick for Newcastle. I've got Thiago, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Ryan Brewster. I think he's been poor really. He's a good youngster, wasn't he? A lot of people touted him for big things, and he hasn't really done anything for Sheffield United this season. So
no,
yeah, I've got him. And then I've got the two strikers. I've got Aubameyang, he's got back in the goals a little bit, but not for his standards. He's been off it. And then the obvious one, Timo Werner, who I thought was going to be brilliant for Chelsea, and he's been shocking, hasn't he? For a player of his class, you expected him to score a lot of goals in the Prem, and I don't know how many goals he scored, but he hasn't scored many, has he, in the Prem? 2 or 3, is it? I'm not sure. Not a lot, has he?
I'm not sure how many. I think he's got more assists and 1 more penalties than he's scored goals, hasn't he? But yeah.
As a striker, you expect goals, don't you? I think Chelsea fans would have expected him to be scoring goals for them, and he hasn't done it. So yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can totally understand that. I think that's pretty accurate. Darren, if you want to go through yours, I mean, I don't know if you thought about it because I didn't actually mention this to you, but
no,
you haven't.
I haven't, because but I can mainly go through who I thought the biggest flop is, though. So
yeah,
I would definitely. I need to agree that definitely Timo Werner is a massive one, because I know that he went to Chelsea with a big price tag. Everything, obviously, Chelsea had that price cap before. I think the season before, obviously, so you got players like Billy Gilmore and like Abraham coming in.
Yeah.
But I think because Werner came from a different league, and obviously the playing style in Germany completely different compared to the English Premier League. So I'm thinking that maybe, I think it's just mainly been that I would say definitely it's Werner, because I just think he's still getting used to things, and obviously when he came under Lampard, I think it's a hard one, because Lampard took a big jump from Derby County.
Yeah.
So I genuinely do think that Werner's probably the most outstanding flop of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I've picked him as well, but I'll go from goalkeeper through. Goalkeeper, I've gone for Hugo Lloris actually. I nearly went for Alisson. I did nearly go for him, but I think a couple of mistakes in a few games, and I know they were bad mistakes, but they were shocking mistakes. I could have easily picked him, but I just think Lloris, not just this season, I mean, I know it's of this season, but I think for the last few years he's been pretty poor for Spurs. I think they'd have done a lot better the last few seasons if they had a better goalkeeper. I think he's sort of getting past it. Just think he's got a clanger in him. Defence, I've gone for Trent at right back, because I just think compared to the last 2 seasons, he's been shocking. And then I'd have to go. I know United have been all right, but I'd go for Lindelof. I mean, I think I just don't get the hype. The way is, just don't rate him at all. I sort of struggled for another centre back to chuck in there, to be honest.
Dyer, mate, it's got to be Eric Dyer. Come on, he's been shocking.
I was between Dyer, but I think I'm going to go for Davinson Sanchez instead.
Yeah, he's shocking as well, to be fair. He is.
And I know I've got a mate who's a Spurs fan who's going to rip me to shreds at work about this, but I mean, he got left on his face the other week against Man City, didn't he, by Gundogan? Literally turned into Phil Jones. But yeah, Sanchez for me. And then at left back, don't know really. It's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? There isn't many, but I love Andy Robertson to bits, but I think again underperformed. There's going to be a lot of Liverpool players in this team for me. Like,
definitely from what you expect, isn't it?
Yeah.
High standards.
Yeah. It's got to be Robertson. Midfield, Thiago's definitely one of my central midfielders. I think when he came in, everyone thought he'll make Liverpool tick even more. But for me, he just slows the game down. I don't know whether it's just playing in Germany and Spain, but everything's so slow around him. Just don't really see what he's really done for us. The other one I would probably say in central midfield, it might come as a bit of a shock. Thomas Partey maybe for Arsenal.
That's a good shout, that, because a lot of hype around it, but I haven't seen anything particularly, mate.
No, I thought he's the player they needed to like push for the top 4, but no, he's been out injured for a bit. But I've heard more about Granit Xhaka than I have him, to be honest. So I think that goes without saying. Right wing, I've gone for Gareth Bale.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I know he's had a good week.
Yeah, I really thought when he came back to Spurs that it would sort of like ignite a fire in him and he'd be better. But no, Bale I've gone for. Left wing, it's another one. One thing I will say is I forgot to give a shout out to my left wing. I could have gone for Harvey Barnes at Leicester.
Yeah.
It's just re-entered my
mind.
Hope
he gets better soon, mate. It's obviously a big injury, weren't it? Hope he comes back a better player.
Yes, I think he's a very good player.
Yeah.
I think he could have been in my best 11. I'm going to go for Havertz, I think, because I think there was massive expectation, weren't there? Everyone was after him, and he's been pretty poor. And up front, I've gone for Werner. I don't need to say anything else.
Would you say a lot of Chelsea players have been disappointing, Liam? Because
a
lot of they've spent a lot of money, and a lot of them haven't really performed, have they?
No, I mean I could have put Ziyech in, but I don't think he was picked by either manager. So I don't think it's really fair to put him in. Like you went with Willian, I could have gone with him, but like I say, he hasn't played him that much because he's been so poor. Up front, Werner, and I think I have to put Firmino because I thought he had a poor season last season, even though he won the league, didn't really do much. And I'm fed up with all this talk about, he's a defensive striker, though. He brings everyone into the game. But when the others aren't on form, you need a striker who can put a ball in the back of the net. And against Sheffield United last night, how the ball come to him, open goal, I thought, slam it in the back of the net. And he tried to square it. I don't know any other striker in the league, maybe in the world, that would think, open goal, I'll pull it back. Like, if you've been in that poor form, so I've gone for him. I can't not really. I guess that rounds it all off. A bit of a longer chat than we expected, I think. But what I will say before we go is, if you want to see us debate about more things, I think, to everybody, then subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. And also subscribe to Harley's channel, HJ and Boxing. He started it up. He's got a couple of good videos up already, more coming. But hopefully, I mean, we've both set these up. We hope they're both a success and see how we go, really. But more videos coming. I think me and Darren will do another one soon. I think we'll also do a debate on whole situation at our local club, mine Harley's local club anyway, Ipswich.
Yeah.
Lambert's gone now. I don't think we were expecting it to be so soon, but I will just put a word in about that I think everyone around the club, bar maybe a couple of people, are ecstatic that he's finally out. Norwich fans won't be happy, but who cares about? But there you go. Yeah, give Harley a subscribe. I'll drop the link to the socials and everything, and see you all soon for a video. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Cheers, Liam. Thank you, mate.
Catch you later.